Good morning, guys. Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. I'm Owen James, and this is your Rangers news update for Monday, the 3rd of November. I don't know what to say, guys. After a very disappointing game yesterday, a 3-1 defeat in the Old Firm game at Hampden in the semi-final of the League Cup, the fallout obviously continues today. Now, look, the main subject of this video, I want to talk about what really let us down yesterday. Yes, we can talk all we want about Nick Walsh and the standards of refereeing. We can talk about Nick Walsh was genuinely dreadful. He was genuinely dreadful yesterday. I mean, how this doesn't result in a red card, I don't know. Trusty, you watch it time and time again, and you can see that Trusty has time to take his boot away at any point, but yet continues through. But the excuses you hear coming from the other side of the city are that we didn't mean it. It was only a light touch. It wasn't a full touch. He didn't kick him hard. He still kicked him in the head, and under the rules of the game, that's a sending off. I've got to say, I do find the other side of the city absolutely fucking hilarious, though. This morning, the comments that are coming from the other side of the city that actually Nick Walsh cheated them and he was bad for them and he favoured Rangers, I find laughable. Saying that we should have been down to 8 men, that Cornelius should have been sent off for his tackle and Diamonde should have been sent off as well. I just honestly despair with them. I genuinely believe that they're some sort of, I don't know, inbred single-celled mutants that just have no clue about anything. They just genuinely are the worst people on planet Earth. They really are thickos. But, let's get back to what we were actually going to talk about this morning, which is what is really letting Rangers down. And I think, look, yes, like I said, Nick Walsh was dreadful yesterday. Yes, he was Celtic's man of the match yesterday. But the thing you've got to kind of take from yesterday was the first half yesterday was dreadful. The performance from Rangers was genuinely useless. The players looked like scared kids, like rabbits caught in the headlights. They genuinely didn't look like they had a clue what they were doing. They looked afraid, and it took them coming in at half time. Danny Rule obviously getting into them, reorganising them to kind of get them to have some fight and battle and to actually play better. But something that kind of, even though that second half performance and that extra time performance were a lot better and did show signs of progress and signs of encouragement, the one thing you can kind of pinpoint was that the players that we had on the park didn't take chances. We created chances. In that game. Chimity misses 2 easy chances. The one near post that how he misses that, I don't know. And look, as you know, I'm no fan of Cyril Dessers, but Cyril Dessers scores that 9 times out of 10. The one and the second one where the ball comes over from a Tavernier free kick on the left, it comes all the way over. Chimity's got all the time in the world to position himself, to get himself ready, but he just completely makes a hash of it. I thought Chimity was absolutely dreadful yesterday. I mean, there's development prospect, and then there's looking like you've never played football before. And I think he did genuinely yesterday look like he'd never ever played the game before. How he cost £8.5 million, I will never ever know. I mean, honestly, 8.5 million zloty would be too much for that guy. 85p would be too much for that guy. A guy who probably wouldn't get a game in the Glasgow Park leagues. That's how bad he is. Gassara misses 2 chances. Raskin misses a chance. There was a real lack of composure in front of goal yesterday. And one of the concerning things for me is that, last year we had Dessers, Igaman and Tierney, who between the 3 of them produced 60 goals. We've obviously, we sold Igaman, we sold Dessers, and obviously we didn't sign Tierney because he was a loan player. So we obviously let 60 goals go out of the door, and we've replaced them with Chimity, Miovski, and obviously have then put Danilo, who missed most of last season with injury, into the firing line. And all 3 of them, to some degree, have struggled. Danilo probably has looked the better of the 3 with 2 goals in his last 3 games. But for me, the big thing that has kind of let us down, and I'll keep coming back to this, is Kevin Thelwell. The recruitment that we did this summer has not done what recruitment is supposed to do. I once heard a manager being interviewed, and he was being quizzed over to why he didn't sign a number of players. And he said, I only sign people if they're better than what I've got and they're going to make us a better team. And that got me thinking. It really did get me thinking. I looked at the players that we've brought in this summer, and I asked myself, have they made us better? And are they better than what we already had? That's the question. That is the key question there. Are the players that we've got in better than what we already had? And are they better players? That's the question. Now, Look, Lyle Cameron, for me, he gets a pass on this one. He's a free transfer. He was signed by the previous regime, by Niels Koppen. He didn't even get a look in yesterday. He wasn't injured. Danny Rule confirmed he wasn't injured. So I don't know why he didn't play. To me, he's been one of our better players this season when he has played. Oscar Cortez is another one, a very weird one. Obviously signed under the previous regime. Obviously not liked by Thelwell and his cronies. Sent out on loan. Again, I don't get that one. I think, if you've got that player, you should at least give him an opportunity to impress before you send him out on loan. We never did that. So again, that is a bit of a weird one. But to me, if we go, I want to look at 2 points on this. I want to look at the signings, and I want to look at the build long term, how this influences the team going forward. So, we go down that list of players that we've signed. Yusuf Chimiti, to me, is not worth £8.5 million. He isn't worth £8.5 million. He genuinely is a very poor footballer. His hold-up play is poor. His positional skill is poor. He misses those sitters yesterday that if it had been Dessers, he'd have got absolutely slaughtered for it. He was genuinely dreadful yesterday, and how he stayed on past half-time, I will to this day never ever know. But what I'll say to you now is he will start Thursday. I guarantee it. And I won't. And people will argue with me all you want. Kevin Thelwell is telling Danny Rule to play him and making Danny Rule play him. That has to be. There is no other explanation how someone as bad as him can get in the team week in, week out. Oliver Antman, to me, in the first game was outstanding. Since then, he has been a pale shadow of himself. He looks like a Ryan Kent in his final season. He genuinely just looks way out of his depth and not coping with Scottish football at all. He genuinely doesn't look like he can play at this level. Thelo Asgard, again, is too slow, not physical enough. He gets sent off yesterday. Look, in reflection, looking back on it in the cold light of day, the sending off was a sending off. He was stupid. He didn't need to do that. There was a simple pass he could have played. Instead, he tries all these tricks and flicks. And what annoys me more about Asgard is the fact that he doesn't seem to do anything. He to me, he's a B-Tech Todd Cantwell. He's not even as good as Todd. His passing range is not as good as Todd's. His ability to beat a man is not as good as Todd's. He is slower than Todd Cantwell, who wasn't the fastest player in the world anyway. He just doesn't look a footballer. Again, he looks a League One dobber. That's what he is. He'd be doing really well, I think, in Luton's team this season in League One. I think he really would. Bojan Miovski, I don't understand. This is a guy who at Aberdeen scored goals, who did well, who played really well. Again, looks to be struggling. But again, I don't think he fits our system. I don't think we play to his strengths. If you look at what Miovski does well, he plays on the shoulder of the last man, and he thrives off through balls through for him to get onto and use his pace. We never do this. We never service him in that way. If you look at when he came on yesterday, people say, he was useless yesterday. But if you look at him yesterday, the entire time he was on, we just kept pumping high balls up to him, which is, he's not a target man. That's not how you play to Miovski's strength. So again, I don't get that one. Manuel Fernandez is the missing man. Genuinely, but the ironic thing is he'd be one of the only defenders we have under contract next season. We'll come on to that. JD Gassama, I think, is a good footballer and will be a very, very good footballer. He is the one piece of business I think we have done well on. I think, yes, he did miss those 2 chances yesterday, but I do think he will be a player going forward. Joe Rothwell does not look a footballer. He came on yesterday, and I'm sorry, he was a disgrace yesterday. He jogged about the pitch, gave the ball away, didn't fight, didn't battle, didn't run with any strength, didn't try, just kind of came on to get his appearance money and then fucked off. That was pretty much Joe Rothwell yesterday. Which, to be fair, has been Joe Rothwell since the start of the season. He's been awful. Genuinely awful. Mikey Moore, I thought, played well yesterday. He's improving, but again, he's not our player. Nasser Jiga, we've paid this guy a massive loan fee. I don't know what percentage of his wages we're playing, but he looks a bomb scare. He looks an absolute bomb scare. Every time the ball goes near him, he makes a mistake. It goes over his head. He can't control it. He doesn't read the game. He doesn't mark his man. He loses his man. He just is such a bad footballer. How Wolves paid 10 million. But then let's face it, Wolves have not got the best track record, Fabio Silva. And look at where they are in the league at the moment. Max Aarons, again, looks genuinely lost in this football. Genuinely looks bad. Cornelius is okay. He's doing well. He's decent. And Jaden Montgomery's a kid. And he's the only left back we've got. And he's doing all right. But, all right, that's it. Now, you look at that list of players that we've brought in, and we spent the thick head of about £25 million on these players. And I'm sorry, when you're kind of saying that Gassama's a good player, and Fernandez might be a good player, and Cornelius and Magoma are decent, but they're not ours, is that a good summer? Is that good enough? Is that recruitment good enough? Has that recruitment improved Rangers? I'd say not. I'd say that the team we had last season, which was a bad team, is better than this year's team, which is not the way you want to go. The other problem we've got is if you look at the back five, let's take it as a back five that started yesterday. We had Tavernier, we had Stiga, Suter, we had Cornelius, and we had Magoma. Now, there's a chance, it may not happen, but there's a chance that all 5 of those players could be gone by the start of next season. And that the only player that is in the starting squad that we have, Narrans will go as well, so that's 6. So 6 defenders, right? The only defender who is currently under contract next season is Emmanuel Fernandez, the missing man. So how does that work? How, when you're trying to build this team long term, do you have no back 4 in place? Now, even the thickest, most moronic, most lacking in football intelligence, football director, manager, whoever will tell you that when you build a team, you build from the back. All the great teams over the eras have been built from the back. The great Rangers teams of Walter Smith and Graham Souness built from the back. The great George Graham's, Arsene Wenger Arsenal teams of the past built from the back. The great Liverpool teams of the past built from the back. The great Manchester United teams under Sir Alex Ferguson built from the back. Yet we've got a no build from the back. We've got 6 players who are out of contract at the end of this season who will possibly walk. Now, Tavernier and Suter may get new deals. I don't agree with that, but they may do. But all 6 could be gone at the end of the season, leaving us only with the missing man as our only player under contract. That to me is negligence on a massive scale. Add to that the fact that we ship out our 3 left backs with a combination of loans and sales and have 1 kid as our left back with no backup. Again, negligence. Kevin Thelwell's recruitment has not improved this team. It's taken this team backwards. He's gone and signed a bunch of English players from the Championship and from League One and basically thought they'll piss this league because it's Scotland. There's an arrogance there. They'll come up here and they'll walk it because it's Scotland. It's easy. It's easy. They'll just walk it. And they've been found that it is not as easy as they think, that it is not a walk in the park as they think, and it's let us down. Now, what worries me, guys, going forward is that we are going to give this man money in January to waste on more pish, more rubbish. Now, those of you out there that think Danny Rule is going to have a say over signings, guys, you're living in cloud cuckoo land. Kevin Thelwell pulls the strings along with his son and Dan Purdy. They will be buying the players. And to me, it's a huge, huge concern. The only way this club moves forward for me from today is if we sack Kevin Thelwell, sack his son, sack Dan Purdy, and bring in proper people to run the football side of the business. Give Danny Rule more of a say on signings. And we know that it was Kevin Thelwell and his control and power that put off Muscat, that put off Gerrard, and we bring in people who get how to run a football department. Decent people. Now, I'm not saying this person is the perfect. Davey Weir would be a great person to bring in. Yes, he gets Rangers, but also he's got a great track record at Brighton of doing this. I'm sure there are other people out there. Look, I don't know who they are because I haven't got time to sit and research all these people because I have a full-time job. It's not my job. If I had time, I'd be able to do it for you. But for me, Kevin Thelwell has taken this club massively backwards. And whilst we can blame Nick Walsh for yesterday, the poor recruitment and the poor standard of players was also to blame for yesterday's defeat. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments and I'll catch you on the next one.